Hello and welcome. My name is James and I am a person in recovery. This is my addiction recovery live stream podcast every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome. You are my guests and I am your gracious host. I have recently been told, and okay, self-medication. Why do we do it? What's behind it? What medication do you choose? I chose alcohol, all downers, mostly benzodiazepines, barbiturates, opioids, opiates, opium at one point, or several points, codeine, nicotine, sex, sloth, gluttony, you know what I mean? Self-medication. What is it? Well, while you guys join us, I'll read what our all-powerful Lord and Savior AI says about it. Here is the AI overview. People self-medicate for a variety of reasons, often seeking to cope with emotional pain, mental health challenges, or physical discomfort. This can involve using substances like alcohol, drugs, or even over-the-counter medications to temporarily alleviate symptoms or escape from difficult emotions. First of all, we don't always know we're doing it. This is how addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. Wouldn't you agree, mind's eye? I would. Hello. There are healthy medications, taking the forms of behaviors such as regular exercise, healthy diet plans, workaholics, which I resent them taking the aholic from alcoholic because there's no workahol, but workaholics could call themselves relatively healthy. There are unhealthy ways to self-medicate. Alcohol, nicotine, sex and love addiction. These are unhealthy ways for reasons that are obvious, but we all have our own consequences, very customized and particular to our unique and individual self-medications. Mind's Eye says the mind is cunning, baffling. The line in step 1 is understatement squared when it uses the word unmanageable. How in the world did you get a squared symbol on your text keyboard? Mind's Eye, hacker. Unmanageable, right? He's talking, Mind's Eye is referring to the line in the first step of the 12-step recovery programs. I admit that I am powerless over blank, and my life has become unmanageable. That's a very good point, Mind's Eye. Let's read on. Hold the 2 down and it changes for everybody who wants the understatement squared, the squared symbol. Thank you, Mind's Eye. Here's a more detailed look at the reasons we self-medicate. Coping with emotional pain. Substances can provide a perceived sense of escape or reality or relief from emotional distress such as trauma, grief, stress, or loneliness. There's a saying in the rooms of recovery, HALT, H-A-L-T. Be careful when we get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. We might just self-medicate. I used to avoid eating while I drank. If I knew I wanted to drink, that obsession was so powerful that I wouldn't eat. Because eating would not only partially medicate my distressful emotions or feelings, but it would also take up the room in my stomach for my perceived medication. It is suggested also that we have a disease of perception, and I perceived that alcohol was a medicine for my particular condition. The condition, all of our conditions are infinitely different. Perfect uniqueness is the only perfection that exists in the universe. Perfect uniqueness, and we're each perfectly unique due to chemical or hormonal imbalances in our brain and body. We have different feelings, emotions, experiences. So we medicate differently. I may be more anxious than you. You may medicate with uppers like coke or meth. I usually medicate with downers. That's just a simple example. Mental health conditions. Individuals with mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, or bipolar disorder may turn to substances to self-medicate, seeking temporarily relief from symptoms. I like to refer to being a human or being born a human as a gauntlet of disorder and disease. It's a roll of the dice in my eyes, whether we're hit with bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, narcolism, alcoholism, addiction, and other behavioral disorders. It's a gauntlet. It's a roll of the dice. And with nature and nurture both being causes and conditions of these disorders, the world is becoming more complex, adding to our conditions with instant gratification mechanisms like TikTok, Instagram, and all of that. Advertisements, everybody volleying for your attention and your money. It's a harsh world out there, and the disorders are exponentially being multiplied. What's up, Mike Tucker? What's up, Joseph Avila? Howdy. What's the difference between a vitamin and a hormone? Hormone, well, my layman's answer would be a hormone's in our body already, and vitamins are taken through food. Let me know if I'm wrong. Alcohol, Klonopin, 4 years with neither. Good for you, mind's eye. Hell yeah. Time takes time. And one of the things we'll get to in this live stream is talking about how time takes time away from your drug of choice. These drugs are destructive to our mind, body, spirit, soul, and time takes time to come around. You've heard me talk before about trying to balance my dopamine instigating behaviors, trying to get rid of vices like alcohol first, nicotine. I've gotten rid of now all of the dating sites used for instant gratification like sex and romance. Now I've gotten rid of Facebook and Instagram because of the reels. These are addictive things. Don't get it twisted. They are designed to be addictive. The weed might amplify adrenaline. I'm not sure about that, but the weed is gone. I no longer partake in cannabis because I believe in this dopamine regulation goal. Dopamine deficiency is a thing. Bipolar disorder, you go from no dopamine to tons of dopamine. Depression, very little dopamine or less dopamine than you need. Things like nicotine, alcohol, just gratification-seeking behaviors. I believe if you eliminate them, I have experienced healthier ways of attaining dopamine and a healthy lifestyle coming back into my life, like exercise, connection, stringless connection. You ever notice when you stop drinking, your drinking buddies are nowhere to be found? That's because there was a string attached to that connection, and that was drinking together. Same thing with sex. To have the connections that we have on this channel, number one, the string is recovery. That's a healthy string, a purpose to the connection. So these are the things that I found naturally and almost subconsciously come back into my life when I get rid of vices like nicotine and easily attainable dopamine sources. If you don't know what dopamine is, it's a naturally occurring chemical in our brains. It's a neurotransmitter. This is one of the happy, for lack of a better word, chemical, but I think it's more of a neurotransmitter. Basically, it's a naturally occurring thing in our brains that some of us, due to some kind of disorder, whether it be nature or nurture, lack dopamine. ADHD is also a dopamine disorder. Another reason we self-medicate: lack of access to care, limited access to health care, affordability issues, or fear of seeking help can lead people to self-medicate as a way to address their health concerns without professional guidance. Self-medication, sometimes called do-it-yourself medicine, is a human behavior in which an individual uses a substance or an exogenous influence to self-administer treatment for physical or psychological conditions. The substances most widely used in self-medication are over-the-counter drugs and dietary supplements, which are used to treat common health issues at home. These do not require a doctor's prescription to obtain, and in some countries are available in supermarkets and convenience stores. Welcome to America. The field of psychology surrounding the use of psychoactive drugs is often specifically in relation to the use of recreational drugs, alcohol, comfort food, and other forms of behavior to alleviate symptoms of mental distress, stress, and anxiety, including mental illnesses or psychological trauma. Such treatment can cause serious detriment to physical and mental health if motivated by addictive mechanisms. In post-secondary, university, and college students, self-medication with study drugs such as Adderall, Ritalin, and Concerta has been wildly reported and discussed in literature. Boom. So, that suggests that there's a societal pressure for us to medicate. Success is relative. What's up, Brian? Mike Tucker? Trippy Seeds, Colorado Brad, good to see all of you. Ryan says, you took my God-given right of shelter, food, and I got drunk and called a slave, but isn't right in line with rat race when they don't have to live in J-World. They don't drink the venom. That makes absolutely no sense. If you could clear that up for me, we'd all appreciate it. Ryan, thank you. The dopamine hits will come to you once you stop frantically going after them. This is, from what I've been reading, it's, in so many words, your natural dopamine regulatory system coming back online. I've noticed this in bouts of, sobriety from alcohol and all mind-altering substances. The reason these drugs are illicit and have such high street value, even prescription drugs like Xanax and opiates have such a high street value, is because they are instantly gratifying. To drink, to snort, to slam, these things go directly to the source of your perceived problem and you feel better. They're addictive in this nature. Some are worse for you than others. Some are even socially acceptable. Enter alcohol, the most deadly drug on earth. Kills more people yearly than all other illicit substances combined. That's partially because it's socially acceptable. It also, in my opinion, treats one of the most common sought after dilemmas, a social need to connect. Booze is a social lubricant. We've talked about it on here and we've all experienced it. Connection is the opposite of addiction. In this phase of my recovery, which is now 20 years strong of trying to recover from my obsession to go after these substances, I have recently begun to connect with people for the sake of connecting. I used to get pissed or annoyed or confused when people would try to connect with me when there was no seemingly obvious reason, like at the bus stop or the grocery store, or just anytime. It's like, what are we doing? Are we going to have sex? Are we going to do some drugs together? Why are we talking? Well, lo and behold, and above my intellect, self-proclaimed brilliant pay grade, I have now learned that connection is a solution to my addictive tendencies. We talked about it in the last live stream. Connection is the opposite of addiction. You seem way calmer, James, since you went city postal. I haven't gone city yet. They haven't called me back yet. I guess it just takes a minute. But I haven't been working at the post office. I think my rebellious nature, aka telling them, no, I'm not going to do that, and no, I'm not going to do that. In other words, fuck you, pay me, is what I've been saying in so many non-fireable words. But I may be calmer because I am pursuing a purpose that brings joy and happiness into my life. I'm acknowledging what makes up me. Doing what I don't like to do is not one of the things that I can tolerate. Some people will call that lazy or stubborn. I call it acceptance. Like I said, we're each unique, and I happen to, for instance, I cannot paint a wall. I cannot paint. I mean, I can. I've done it before under the direction of a painter, but when set out on my own, I just can't seem to get a wall painted. Little obstacles come up. My ADHD kicks in. I've come and accepted this. I've come to accept it. A lot of painters can't create a YouTube channel. I've come to terms with these facts of life, of being James. I'm not a painter. I've tried. It's not going to happen. I have to hire someone to paint. I've accepted it. I've also started to pursue things that make me comfortable. Working with other addicts, doing this YouTube channel, becoming a peer support specialist, getting the hell out of the United States Postal Service. So, in so many words, they took me off of the schedule because I pissed them off by telling them, no, I'm not going to work when you don't pay me. Generally speaking, self-medication is defined as the use of drugs to treat self-diagnosed disorders or symptoms, or the intermittent or continued use of a prescribed drug for chronic or recurrent disease or symptoms. Self-medication can be defined as the use of drugs to treat an illness or symptom when the user is not medically qualified professional. The term is also used to include the use of drugs outside their license or off-label. In psychology and psychiatry, self-medication hypothesis goes like this. As different drugs have different effects, they may be used for different reasons. According to the self-medication hypothesis, SMH, the individual's choice of a particular drug is not accidental or coincidental, but instead a result of the individual's psychological condition, as the drug of choice provides relief to the user specific to his or her condition. Specifically, addiction is hypothesized to function as a compensatory means to modulate effects and treat distressful psychological states, whereby individuals choose the drug that will most appropriately manage their specific type of psychiatric distress and help them achieve emotional stability. Yeah, that's why I drank 40 ounces by the 5, is to achieve emotional stability. But it could be said that even though I went about it the wrong way, I was intentionally or subconsciously trying to treat my symptoms of distress, mainly anxiety, depression, things of this nature. Can you guys relate? Colorado Brad says, it's still odd how it creeps in. There's no litmus test for addict or no addiction. It's education in the end. Well, I'm someone who cannot drink. It was sneaky then. Yeah, it's like, that's a good point, Brad. Here, 1 second. It's like I say, we thought alcohol was a solution to all of our problems. When I first had my first drink of alcohol in early teens, I was instantly delivered to a state of comfort and relief. You know what I mean? Ryan says, your study of rat race, are you referring to the rat park from the last stream? They don't drink speedball or meth and heroin because rats are living best life in line with God. When they have ability to be free as you and me do not. Right. That was essentially the conclusion of the rat park experiment. Hey, hashtag. Was when the rats had stimulation and socialization and a purpose. They were allowed to mate and procreate. They did not choose the heroin water anymore, even though they were when they were previously subjected to unstimulating and a non-communal environment. Connection is the opposite of addiction, even in rats, another social species. Specific mechanisms. Some people who have had mental illness attempt to correct their illnesses by using certain drugs. Depression is often self-medicated by the use of alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, or other mind-altering drugs. While this may provide immediate relief of some symptoms, such as anxiety, it may evoke and or exacerbate some symptoms of several kinds of mental illnesses that are already latently present, and may lead to addiction or physical dependency, among other side effects of long-term use of the drug. This does not differ significantly from the potential side effects of drugs provided by physicians, which are equally capable of producing dependency and or addiction, and also have side effects arising from long-term use. Enter opiates. I got a bone reconstruction surgery on my left ACL around 2010. I had just happened to come out of a treatment facility for my self-medication with alcohol and other addictive substances. I was sober James, in so many words. but I got a prescription to Percocets, bought a PlayStation and a TV, and laid up healing at the advice of my doctor. But I was eating them things like candy, 8, 9 at a time. Because addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful and lies to us in our own voice. Sometimes it sounds like a doctor. You know what I mean? What's up, Shelly Powell? How goes it? Mike Tucker's happy to not be drinking. Has enough issues as it is. I heard a man 44 years sober collect his 44-year sober chip. That's as old as I am. My dude got sober in 1981. His words of wisdom to share with us all: I've not had a perfect day since he's got sober. This is an important thing to note. I thought it was one of the best things I've ever heard anybody picking up their chip said. I haven't had a perfect day since. We addicts and alcoholics are perfectionists. We think we should be comfortable all the time. Subconsciously and unaware, we go through life. If we're uncomfortable, all of a sudden I am biting my nails, puffing on my vape, and scheming to get some sort of medication in my veins to make me more comfortable. It's like this, as I've learned in the program of AA, life on life's terms. Life is not always comfortable. This is just life. You ever hear someone say, that's life? That's a lot of wisdom coming out of that short sentence. That's life. I used to get pissed when people say that, especially when involving the conversation of work and employment. That's life. Work is work. You're not supposed to like your job. Not all those things are true, but that is life. You do have to make a living, and sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do. Enter the Postal Service. But I've come to 900 days sober, Shelly. Damn, that's like 3 years. Time takes time. Shelly, have you noticed that you are learning to be more comfortable doing nothing like inhaling substances or drinking them? Have you noticed a sort of baseline happiness, joy, and freedom? Do you have other solutions to when you get restless, irritable, and discontent? Shelly has stopped self-medicating when she gets restless, irritable, and discontent for 900 days. And research shows that the longer you stay away from your drug of choice, the more chances there are for true recovery, which is a reintroduction into society and happiness, joy, and freedom. Shelly says it's so very free. I'm happy for you, Shelly. And thanks for sharing. CNS depressants, central nervous system. Alcohol and sedative/hypnotic drugs such as barbiturates and benzodiazepines. That sentence just listed all of my, not all of them, but my choice vices. Alcohol, sedative, hypnotic, barbiturates, and benzos. These are central nervous system depressants that lower inhibitions via anxiolysis. Depressants produce feelings of relaxation and sedation. Oh, I love it so much. While relieving feelings of depression and anxiety. Though they are generally ineffective antidepressants, as most are short-acting, the rapid onset of alcohol and sedatives softens rigid defenses and, in low to moderate doses, provides relief from depressive affect, and anxiety. Let's read that again, because that is essentially our problem. We feel depressed, anxious, restless, irritable, and discontent, and we take these short-acting, rapid onset alcohol, sedatives, and they soften rigid defenses and in low to moderate doses provide relief from depressive affect and anxiety. As alcohol also lowers inhibitions, alcohol is also hypothesized to be used by those who normally constrain emotions by attenuating intense emotions in high or obliterating doses, which allows them to express feelings of affection, aggression, and closeness. Our very last stream was talking about connection being the opposite of addiction. Listen to that sentence that we just read. As alcohol also lowers inhibitions, alcohol is also hypothesized to be used by those who normally constrain emotions by attenuating intense emotions in high or obliterating doses, which allows them to express feelings of affection, aggression, and closeness, aka connection. In our last live stream, we talked about childhood trauma affecting us in one way or another, to where as adults, we shy away from emotions. We isolate. We're shy. We're either combative, defensive, or just don't want to connect for the sake of being connected. Nobody told me this was a human behavior that I should be participating in. Connection, aka even small talk, but true connection. When I got drunk out, I would be calling people up. I'd be all over Facebook and Instagram, DMing and connecting and like bing bong booms. That, you know what I mean? Who can't relate to that? This type of misuse is more likely in men than in women. This makes diagnosing a psychiatric disorder very difficult in substance abusers because of self-medicating. Alcohol. People with social anxiety disorder commonly use alcohol to overcome their highly set inhibitions. And as we talked about in the last stream, it's not our fault. A lot of us experienced trauma in our childhood years, everything from divorce to physical and sexual abuse to, that other word I can't think of right now, neglect, trauma. I mean, you might have gotten any kind of, it's a gauntlet. Being born a human, as Holly likes to say, we didn't ask for this, but we're born anyway. And as a child in this effed up world, it's traumatizing. Sheer luck can keep you away from traumatic events in the formidable years of being a child human being. Sheer luck. Your family, a good family life, protective environment, luck. In the litter, you're lucky if you get to be in a litter. A lot of us are only children or adoptees. You know what I mean? Humans. Like I said, I'm voting for the asteroid. But until then, we self-medicators have to overcome our obsession to be comfortable with substances like alcohol, nicotine, opiates, heroin, cocaine, sex and love addiction, shopping addiction, kleptomania. These are all consequential ways to self-medicate, and as we all know, they suck. They may be awesome at first. The relief may come instantly, but short-acting, but rapid onsetting. Yeah, it's great at first, but play the tape through what always happens. And that's why we have to quit. If I didn't have any negative consequences from my alcohol use, I would be drunk right now. I would be drunk all the time. Yes, these drugs feel good, obviously, in the beginning, but we don't have an off switch. We don't have a doctor to administer them. So we just take all of them. Psychostimulants such as cocaine, amphetamines, meth, caffeine, and nicotine produce improvements in physical and mental functioning, including increased energy and alertness. Stimulants tend to be most widely used by people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which can either be diagnosed or undiagnosed. Because a significant portion of people with ADHD have not been diagnosed, they are more prone to using stimulants like caffeine, nicotine, pseudoepinephrine to mitigate their symptoms. Unawareness concerning the effects of illicit substances such as cocaine. Hold on, I think it might be raining. My dogs need to be let in. Self-medication can effectively prevent them from getting diagnosed with ADHD and receiving treatment with stimulants like Adderall or other things that people abuse. Stimulants can also be beneficial for individuals who experience depression to reduce anhedonia and increase self-esteem. However, in some cases, depression may occur as a comorbid condition originating from the prolonged presence of negative symptoms of undiagnosed ADHD, which can impair executive functions, resulting in a lack of motivation, focus, and contentment with one's life. Well, shit. Describing my life at some points. What do y'all think? In my opinion, left to our own devices, humans will abuse everything. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Mind's eye. It's good to see you, Brad, and Shelly, Ryan, and of course, Miss Hashtag Holly Ford. That which is says Lyrica treats anxiety. Brad says, oh, I think the Discord link is timed out. The one that the channel says expired when clicked. Whoops. Shit. Well, that's no good. Brad's referring to the third tier of Sober James membership. Click the join button to explore it. I'll get that link fixed so we can chat 24/7 in a safe recovery environment. Ryan says, I hope you realize truth and learn your purpose to help people is not God's will. Then helping people, you will realize it was not you helping and you have no purpose. Then you drink. So you know God's will? Is that what you're saying? Everything in moderation. Word. Yo, I believe that. However, we don't have a moderation switch as addicts. I believe that as well. And my personal experience is I can't have alcohol in moderation. Jack Nicholson would agree. Thanks for subscribing. Yes, Jack Nicholson is a subscriber of the Sober James channel. There's no need for you to question it or investigate any further. Opiates, such as heroin and morphine. function as an analgesic, analgesic by binding to opioid receptors in the brain and gastrointestinal tract. No wonder you can't poop when you're on 12 Percocets. This binding reduces the perception of and reaction to pain, which also increases pain tolerance. Opiates are hypothesized to be used as self-medication for aggression and rage. Opiates are effective anxiolytics, mood stabilizers, and antidepressants. However, people tend to self-medicate anxiety and depression with depressants and stimulants respectively, though this is by no means an absolute analysis. Modern research into novel antidepressants targeting opioid receptors suggests that endogenous opioid dysregulation may play a role in medical conditions including anxiety disorders, clinical depression, and borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder is typically characterized by sensitivity to rejection, isolation, and perceived failure, all of which are forms of psychological pain. As research suggests that psychological pain and physiological pain both share the same underlying mechanism, it is likely that under the self-medication hypothesis, some or most recreational opioid users are attempting to alleviate psychological pain with opioids in the same way opioids are used to treat physiological pain. Opioids. So I went through a Percocet addiction. Although it didn't persist, I think my ADHD works to my advantage when it comes to drugs that need to be attained through a series of process, or like heroin, you need to have a kit and there's steps to inject it and you got to obtain it. Alcohol is easily obtainable. Therefore, I think it is my go-to drug, partially because it is easily attainable, and through ADHD, I cannot really sustain a process of steps to attain drugs and do them. So ADHD saved me from injecting heroin intravenously. Although I loved Dilaudid when I was in the hospital, it was being administered and it was attainable. The process of attaining heroin and then injecting it and tying off and, sterilizing it and the spoon and all that was too much for this attention deficit disorder dude. And I'd just rather go to the store and get my alcohol. I don't know. Let me know if you can relate. What's up, Glenn? Problem drinkers, he says. Heavy drinkers can moderate or stop with a sufficient reason. Not so for the alcoholic. True that. There are problem drinkers, binge drinkers, people that drank too much in college, circumstantial, situational drinkers that are non-alcoholics that don't have too much trouble coming off of booze and staying off, whereas the alcoholic has a mental obsession coupled with a physical allergy that triggers the phenomenon of craving, where one is too many and 100's not enough. I totally agree, Glenn. Alcoholism is a disease. In layman's terms, there are two types of people. People that can drink alcohol with impunity, and people like me, the alcoholic, who cannot have any amount of alcohol in my bloodstream. Cannabis. Cannabis is a paradoxical in that it simultaneously produces stimulating, sedating, and mildly psychedelic properties, and both anxiolytic or anxiogenic properties, depending on the individual and circumstances of use. Well, ain't that the truth? Some people be like, I don't like weed. And then they smoke it on vacation and they just be like, I love weed. Depressant properties are more obvious in occasional users, and stimulating properties are more common in chronic users. This guy noted that research had not sufficiently addressed a theoretical mechanism for cannabis and therefore did not include it in the self-medication hypothesis. Interesting. Cannabis continues to evade the classification of drug. Does anybody else notice this? I know with decades of experiments with all kinds of mind-bending substances, cannabis remains one that I don't hate and I don't blame and I don't associate with a lot of consequences. Recently, relatively recently in my recovery, I've eliminated cannabis and found that I am now dreaming again and getting deeper sleep, which has eliminated my need to nap in the daytime. Those of you who have been familiar with the channel in the thousands of live streams over the past 5 years or so know that I've had cannabis in and out of my life, and I've also complained of napping during the day. So I don't smoke weed anymore and haven't for a while now. And I am now dreaming again, sleeping deeper at night, and not feeling the need to sleep or nap during the day. This is a significant and notable change, personal experience, which I take straight to the heart. It's like being the lab rat. You guys might be the same way. When I experience something and it is, inignorable and obvious, that's like the best evidence right there. Yeah, what's up, Joe Shaves? How you been? They used to say a lot of things. They used to say smoking cigarettes was good for you and that smoking menthol was even better for you. They used to, uh-oh. Oh, okay. Still got my tattoo appointment tomorrow to finish my skull and peony. Is that a peony? Who knows what those are? But I'm going to get this finished tomorrow. It itches, but I'm going to get it worked on anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I do have more energy. I attribute this to attaining REM sleep at night. Joe, thanks for asking. You know I'm a proponent of cannabis. I find very little consequences and a lot of benefits. I used to think this was sleeping deeper. This is false. It was a folly. It was a misconception on my part. I'm no doctor. I'm no scientist. But I liked my weed, and I thought it helped me sleep at night. I noticed my dreams weren't there. I'm an avid, vivacious dreamer. I value my nightmares and my dreams, but they are intense, and I do believe that dreams hash out problems in our subconscious and everything, and I think they are essential. Well, when I smoke daily, I don't dream, and I happen to want to nap at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day. That has vanished. I no longer nap, and my dreams are back. Unfortunately, so are my night sweats. I think this comes from reading about it. I think this comes from the intense nature of my dreams, and also the tendency to hash out things in my brain and stuff. You know what I mean? DMT, huh? Well, wow. I love my dreams. I watch a lot of movies. I'm a big movie buff, and my dreams are like movies, yo. and they come with feelings and emotions as another sense that you don't get from TV and stuff. So like I feel the movie, and sometimes I'll wake up and I'll just be like, holy shit, man, that was awesome. I want to get back into that one. I've had lucid dreams. I missed my dreams, and there is no doubt about it. Stopping smoking weed has meant a return for my dreams, and I believe that means also REM sleep, which is restorative and essential for being a human. So there's a chink in my armor for being a cannabis proponent. You know, I want to love weed because it's so cool, and it's the only thing that never really produced the consequences of all other mind-bending substances that I've had in my life. Weed is nice and fluffy. Well, it prevents REM sleep, which is restorative, and that's where your dreams are. So it was the cause of my fatigue in the daytime. And this is not to be ignored. Glenn, my crack dreams produce the actual high. Top 5 movies. Whoa. I'm glad you asked, because I have a new favorite horror movie, and it's called Smile 2. It's the sequel to Smile 1, which is also ill, starring Kevin Bacon's daughter. But Smile 2, the sequel, I believe it's a 2024 film. Smile 2 is on Amazon Prime. Go watch it. We'll talk about it on the next live stream. I've watched it twice. That movie has blown me away. I mean, it scared me to the point, and movies don't scare me because I've watched a lot, and there's only a couple movies that really disturb me and bother me. Smile 2, definitely. Definitely, Glenn. I'm so glad to share this experience with someone. Definite chills, bro. I mean, that shit was whoo. The second one especially. And it has undertones of addiction in there. Like, you know what I mean? She is, no spoilers here, but the protagonist, the main character, is a recovering addict and still has Passion of the Christ, huh? On Easter weekend and all that. I think I saw that a while ago. Big Lebowski is in my top 5. The Big Lebowski is in my top 5. Forrest Gump is in my top 5. I gotta say Castaway. I watched Castaway on 28.5 grams of psychedelic mushrooms on my 43rd birthday. And it blew me away. Castaway. But, you know, that's mushrooms for you, especially an ounce. You were triggered too on the Smile 2? Man. Heavy, scary, psychedelic trip scared me of liking horror movies. I don't know it needs to be cured. I love horror movies, man. The ending of Castaway. Yeah, well, you know, I did too, especially that when I was watching it on an ounce of shrooms. I watched the credits. I literally believed that the director knew how was connected to me somehow and was going to continue the movie after the credits. I ended up watching some documentary about some trailer park and seeing Tom Hanks's face on them, but knew I wasn't watching the movie because I was so into the movie. Smile 1 triggered you? Smile 2 just blew me the hell out of the water, man. Holy shit. That's my new favorite scary movie. Previous scary movies, obviously Jaws is one of my all-time favorite motion pictures. I used to watch it for the shark as a kid. Now I watch it for the dialogue. but it's a classic. As far as scary movies, that movie Heretic or Hereditary. I think Hereditary scared the piss out of me. But nothing scared me like Smile 2, man. And I'm experienced with horror movies. As a kid, Pet Sematary, the original, I could never get past the part with Aunt Zelda. She had scoliosis, and that part just scared me out of the room. And, you know, it still kind of bothers me. Pet Cemetery. Church and all the cats and shit like that never scared me, but Aunt Zelda scared the shit out of me. Smile 3. Well, to be honest, Ryan, I think Smile 3 is in the works. Triggered me when she went to the dealer's apartment. Yeah, bro. Oh, yeah, when he had all the coke on the table and he had everything, Molly and everything. And then he just bro, that movie, bro. They did an excellent job on that movie. It was like, I mean, even the music was good, and she wasn't even a real pop star. Like, it was just a fictional pop star that had like decent music. It was crazy, crazy movie. Smile 2. That shit was ill, bro. From beginning to end, that shit was awesome. Um, that's the most recent one, but I think if I had to round it out and say the greatest overall movie of all time, I believe would probably be Forrest Gump, just because it's got everything. Um, I think I used to say The Big Lebowski, but I love any Coen Brothers projects, everything from Fargo, Barton Fink, everything from The Big Lebowski to No Country for Old Men. Anything that Coen Brothers touches, I like. But yeah, Smile 2. I want to hear what y'all think about that after you. Do we need to watch both? Heredity is also scary. Yes, it is. The Curse. Maybe I should watch that with the possessed goat. The Curse. Yeah, the Coen brothers. I mean, everything that they touch is amazing. And they have a lot. But Smile 1 and 2 are on Amazon Prime Video. You can watch 2 for free, but Smile costs like 99 cents to rent. I had to rent it. It's Kevin Bacon's daughter is in Smile 1. But Smile 2, holy shit. Like I was so moved. I was so moved. Like I was kind of wondering if it was all right to be like alone in my house. And I'm 44 years old, bro. I'm a grown ass man up in here, and I was like, I was so moved by that movie. I was like, it might be a problem. The Grudge gave me the same chills, but the Smile movie, goosebumps. Yeah, Glenn. I'm so glad somebody else said that because it's true. True Grit, bro. Hell yeah. True Grit, bro. Speaking of the Coen brothers, True Grit, bro. That was a good movie. There was an original too. Yeah, becomes the hero. Yeah, exactly. That's a great movie. True Grit, I got on my knuckles because it means persistence, bounce back. You know what I mean? Yeah, Coen brothers, they're awesome. Um, to have that be your life and to look back at it, I think this channel's fun to look back at, and I feel like it'll be a sort of photo album of my life. As the years go on, it's been this channel's been on here since 2018, but to have like the Coen brothers portfolio, to be to look back at Fargo, you know what I mean, and the Big Lebowski, and they're still doing it. I think they did Men Who Stare at Goats. I think they might have did. I don't know their newest projects, but they're just awesome. They're just unbelievably awesome. I did watch the seasons of Fargo. I think I did, to be honest. Yeah. Y'all go watch Smile too. I might go watch The Curse. I think I might have watched The Curse. Is that the one where it's kind of snowy and the people are camping or something? What's up, Noah? How you feeling, bud? Coming in at the tail end of the live stream. Sigma Schwab. What's new, Noah? How you faring? Yeah, man. Well, as a reminder, I'm going to check out that link for the Discord and update the tier 3 membership. But check out the join button to become a member, and a tier 3 members get access to the private Discord room where we can chat even when I'm not live streaming 24/7. We can chat. And it used to be a thing in 2020, 2021. Had a lot of people in the Discord, and it was fun. I want to get back up there. Noah says at a low today, coming off 120 milligrams of Adderall. Well, bro, you're still self-medicating, and you're trying and hopeful. On the topic of self-medicating, I have found that the true medication to my disease and obsession for alcohol and other drugs is found in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I listen to what they suggest because my own suggestions haven't worked for my entire life. It's a disease of perception. It's not stupidity, and it's not weakness. It's just a disease. So just listen to those who have come before you and stay out of your own head, is what I've found. Well, thanks for helping keeping me sober today, to all of you all, and Godspeed. And I hope this live stream on self-medication was helpful to you and or your loved ones. One day at a time, young Noah, one day at a time, and listen to those who have come before you. Our disease lies to us in our own voice. Don't listen to it. I stream Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with addiction recovery and everything in between. Thanks for being here, you all, and I'll see you Thursday. Until then, keep it clean, keep it real, and keep doing its damn thing. Peace.